Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Adolescence. Welcome back to another video. I hope this video finds you well. So here we have a duo review. So we're going to be taking a closer look at two fragrances by the company Ford, and they're called Ford Mustang Blue and Ford Mustang White. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on these fragrances, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin my fragrance review of Ford Mustang Blue and White, I've never actually driven a Ford. My grandfather used to. He had a Ford Bronco. I remember that car so well. He always used to take me to school. It was always really hard to climb up into that thing, especially as a young kid, but I digress. I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews just like this, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, and more, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. And if you can give this video a thumbs up, it would really mean a lot to me, and it would help out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And so here we have two fragrances from the company Ford Mustang Blue and White. I gotta be honest with you, I've never actually tried any other fragrances from the brand. I think there's also another one which is red, kind of symbolizing the fact that this is an American brand, red, white, and blue, like the American flag. And here we have the blue version, which is a fragrance driven by notes of cool mandarin, crisp juniper, and fresh cedar, built for a man on the move. And the white version is driven by notes of fresh bergamot, clean sage, and sensual musk, also built for a man on the move. And that kind of coincides with the fact that this is an automobile brand. And so kind of, creating that active vibe, putting you in motion. And so I'm excited to give you my thoughts on both of these fragrances, let you know what they smell like, if they remind me of anything else, and what are the dominant notes to my nose. But let's go ahead and start things off with the presentation. So let's go ahead and kick off this video by taking a smell or a sniff or whiff of the white version. And so, okay, so this fragrance opens up very clean, and I know it has musk listed or written in the note breakdown, and I definitely am picking up on a lot of musk from this one. But it's a very clean musk, and so if you're familiar with fragrances like White Musk by The Body Shop, that's the kind of musk that you're gonna get from this one. It just gives off a very fresh, laundered vibe. So it kind of smells like freshly laundered clothing, and it actually does smell a little bit like cotton. And so there's another fragrance which, in my opinion, is a bit of a novelty fragrance. It's called Sea Island Cotton by Bath & Body Works. And so that for me is kind of like a benchmark cotton fragrance. And this one gives off a bit of that freshly laundered clothing vibe with that fresh cotton appeal, but it also has that musky vibe. Now, it also does have a little bit of citrus in here. So as far as it's written on the box, you have fresh bergamot and clean sage. And so sage is becoming a very popular ingredient in the perfume industry. There's also a molecule known as sclarine, which gives off the sage aroma. And I'm getting a little bit of that in here. And that's kind of adding to that crisp, professional, office-friendly, masculine vibe. And so if you're looking for something that smells very clean, something that smells very professional, something that can be worn in an office setting, I imagine walking into a dealership and the people helping you at said dealership are wearing one of these fragrances. It would definitely fit the bill for that type of an environment, right? Very clean cut, very well groomed, very professional smelling, elegant at the same time, but something that you can dress up as well. So you can wear this one casually. I actually think white is a little more casual than blue, but I think both of them can be worn interchangeably between casual and formal scenarios, but I do think that white leans a little bit more in the realm of casual. So that musky vibe lasts a very long time in this fragrance, and that citrusy vibe is short-lived. It doesn't smell distinctly of mandarin or grapefruit or yuzu or any other type of citrus ingredient. I am getting bergamot more than anything else because it does come across with that that conventional citrusy vibe as opposed to an unconventional citrusy vibe like yuzu or something quirky like that. So it does come across very well groomed, very well polished. In the case of blue, so this one, has more of a conventional masculine vibe. Now, initially, it actually reminded me a little bit of Perry Ellis America, which is a twist of Creed Aventus. So there's something in here in the opening at least where it kind of gives off that bergamot, apple, pineapple vibe. Now, none of those ingredients are actually listed in the note breakdown, but there's a little bit of a fruity sweetness that you're gonna get in the opening. It's not something that's going to last throughout the entire duration of this fragrance. It's probably gonna linger for like 20, 30 minutes. And then it is going to settle into something a little bit more masculine, woodsy, and aromatic. Now, as far as the note breakdown is concerned, just to refresh our memory, we have crisp juniper and fresh cedar. So exactly what I was saying. It does give off a bit of a woodsy vibe as it starts to dry down. And of course, juniper berry has a bit of an astringent smell. I actually have juniper berry essential oil and it does smell quite woodsy. It doesn't smell fruity, despite the fact that berry is in the name. And it has a little bit of that fruity vibe in the opening from that sort of pineapple, apple, bergamot accord that I was talking about before, but it very quickly transitions into something very polished, masculine, professional smelling, very much like this one, although this one is a little bit more dressed up. And so if you're looking for something that I think is pretty versatile in terms of seasons, I think blue can be worn all year round. I think white is really good for the hotter weather just because it gives off that clean, slightly soapy, cotton-like musky vibe. This one, because of the woodsy tonalities, I think is working really well for the colder weather as well. Of course, I haven't had the opportunity to wear it in the colder weather because this is a recent acquisition and we're still very much so in the summer. Today's date is August 21st. But this is definitely the type of fragrance that I can see myself wearing to work because I do work around a lot of other people. Let's see how well they can smell me with their mask on, right? But it is the type of fragrance that I can see myself working in an environment where you are going to be close up to a lot of other people. You want to smell good. You want to smell clean, professional. You want to give off a sense of formality, but you also want something that could function in a more casual environment as well. So I do find this to be a very ergonomic type of a fragrance, very functional. I think it's a Swiss Army knife in terms of occasions. So there you go. I think that pretty much sums up what I get in terms of the vibe from these two. Now, in terms of picking a favorite, I think I can personally see myself getting a lot of wear out of Ford Mustang Blue. And I say that just because it does kind of remind me of some woodsy fragrances in my collection. It did give off a little bit of a Creed Aventus vibe in the opening, which I think if you're looking for a compliment getter, this is going to be it. However, if you're looking for a more inexpensive version or alternative to Creed Aventus, this one does actually go in a much different direction after that first half hour. And so I would say buy this fragrance for its own DNA, right? For the vibe that it creates, not necessarily because you're looking for something that will remind you of something else. Because like I said, after that initial 30 minutes, it does go in its own direction and it starts to acquire a lot more uniqueness. And so I think they're both really solid depending on your purpose and where you want to wear them and the type of fragrance that you're looking for and also your budget. But I'm gonna leave the links down below if you are interested in learning more about them or maybe just checking them out on the website. But let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, I think they're both fairly unique. I do find that this one has some similarities to Creed Aventus, at least in the first half hour, but then it becomes something really woodsy and it really starts to go in its own direction. And I think the more unique one of the two is Ford Mustang White. For me, it just is very clean, musky, and cotton-like type of a fragrance that I think is very clean smelling, freshly laundered clothing vibe is what it sort of evokes. And so I can see myself wearing this one in more casual scenarios. This one in a little bit more formal scenarios, I suppose, although it strikes a nice balance between casual and formal as well. In terms of the longevity, you can expect about 7 hours from both of these fragrances. I would say in terms of the projection for this one is probably a little bit stronger. I feel like this one, Ford Mustang White, is comprised of a lot more base heavy ingredients like the musk, and the musk really stands out in this one. However, I feel like with this one, there's a bit more of an evolution. And so this one is a little bit more linear as opposed to Ford Mustang Blue, which is a little bit more non-linear. But the projection is really good for like the first hour of application, and it didn't start to sit closer to the skin until about that 4.5 to 5 hour mark. In terms of the versatility, like I said, Ford Mustang White is a little bit more casual, Ford Mustang Blue is a little bit more formal, but it can also be worn casually as well. I think this one would work well in all seasons, and I think Ford Mustang White would work a little bit better when it's hotter outside. I think they can both work on a gentleman of any age, whether you're in your 20s or even in your teens, up to somebody in their 50s, 60s, 70s. I think if you just want to smell good, you want to smell clean, professional, you want to get a few compliments, I think both of these will get the job done for that. And in terms of the presentation, I do like the presentation for both of these, and I'm sure that if you have all three, red, white, and blue, it could be a conversation starter, I suppose, especially if you drive a Ford. I think it kind of matches that. So my final verdict on these fragrances is, if you are looking for something that smells clean, professional, something that's functional, something that'll get you compliments, something that you can wear without giving too much thought to what fragrance should I wear for what situation, what occasion, what season, what this, what that. I think both of these are just very easy to wear, very easy to pull off. Definitely check them out. Once again, all of the information is going to be down below in the way of links and websites online where you can learn a little bit more about the write-up of these fragrances and see what the inspiration is. Although we all know Ford Mustang was the inspiration, and so they're both very easy to pull off. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me today. That was my fragrance review of Ford Mustang Blue and Ford Mustang White. If you own or have tried anything from this brand, please let me know what you think. Leave a comment down below. Also, please don't forget to support this channel. If you did take something of value from this video, all you have to do is click on that red subscribe button in the corner. It would really mean a lot to me. And once again, if you can give this video a thumbs up, it would help out tremendously. Thanks again for watching. Love you all. We'll see you soon.